Hey everybody, GC13 here. More than 2 years ago, before Season 3 of Infinity Train was even officially announced, I discussed the Apex and the way they tried to recruit Jesse. The most important thing they could do to make that recruitment happen was keep him isolated. That way, there would be no one to disagree with them while they filled his head with lies. So, Grace took him along on a raid on a new car, while Simon stayed behind to make sure that Jesse never heard anyone contradict the Apex ever again. Jesse was lucky. MT and Alan Dracula turned out to be tougher than Grace had thought, and Simon wasn't able to kill them before Jesse got back. He got to see the ugly truth of what the Apex really was before they had finished selling him on the warped philosophy that they used to justify their evil. But Jesse wasn't the last kid we'd see Grace set her sights on recruiting. As I expected, Season 3 focused on the Apex. In the very first episode, Grace and Simon are stranded far away from their home base, and they soon meet a kid living in the jungle car, Hazel. Of course Grace wants to recruit her, but this isn't the first kid she's had to convince to join up. She knows just what to do. With Jesse, she was able to skip right ahead to physical isolation, but with Hazel, she doesn't have the luxury of the whole Apex backing her up. She has to start with social isolation first. To that end, she starts off with an initial sales pitch, her impressively large number, a running tally of her misdeeds, but Hazel doesn't need to know that. She then asks Hazel if she has a number 2. Grace knows she does, but, like I said, Grace has done this before. She knows exactly where she needs this conversation to go. Except, Hazel surprises her. Hazel's number doesn't glow, which gives Simon an excuse to butt into the conversation. Simon doesn't add anything to the recruitment. In fact, he endangers it by making it quite clear how little he actually cares about Hazel, but Grace is able to keep things on track. She carries on to the next part of her sales pitch by pointing out a simple fact, a seed she'll water later. Grace, Hazel, and Simon all have numbers. She then entices Hazel with the chance to get a number that glows, just like hers does, and with the chance to join a community. Hazel is eager to join, but there's one problem. Her companion, Tuba. There's no way Hazel would want to be separated from her, and no way Grace and Simon could take her away from Tuba by force. Simon doesn't quite understand the situation, but Grace is willing to play the long game. One thing to note is that Grace even goes so far as to gaslight Hazel here, denying that she ever said Tuba couldn't come with them, even though she had clearly been backing Simon up when he said Tuba had to stay behind. She doesn't care about Hazel, she just needs Hazel to like and trust her. And it works! Since Hazel buys into Grace's initial description of the Apex as a bunch of cool kids with numbers that glow, soon Grace is ready to move on to the next step, giving her an enemy.
I hate 1-1.
It doesn't matter that everything Grace says here is totally wrong. Humans just naturally assume that if you can say something confidently, you know what you're talking about, and there's no one more confident than someone trying to deceive you. That's why isolation, while helpful, isn't even completely necessary. Tuba doesn't know the real story, and since she's not going to talk confidently about something she doesn't know about, she's not much of a threat at this early stage. Grace again emphasizes how special you have to be to join the Apex. Everyone wants to be special, and so does Hazel. She really wants to join at this point. When Grace tells her that, yeah, maybe someday she'll be able to join the Apex, Hazel's eyes light up. She's bought in fully at this point. The first chance she gets, Grace makes Hazel's dream come true, and she inducts her into the Apex. With the red line of the conductor on her face, she now has a physical marking proclaiming her as a member of the Apex. Something Tuba can't have, because it's the rules. Now it's not just Tuba not having a number, or not being a kid. Now she's not in the Apex, and she doesn't have a red line either. Grace is slowly driving a wedge between her and Hazel. And then, Simon starts having Hazel sing Tuba's song for him. A song that had earlier in the episode been a symbol of Hazel and Tuba's bond. Tuba can see exactly what's happening, but at this point, she knows she can't stop it. Anything she does will make Hazel upset that she's getting between her and her new friends, and will only push her away faster. When Grace looks back at her, Tuba can't even muster anger. She just feels powerless. It feels less good than Grace had thought it would. For the first time in a long time, her number goes down. Grace continues trying to recruit Hazel after this, but her heart's not in it anymore. Not only has she felt sympathy for a null, she's formed a genuine connection with Hazel, and can't just callously manipulate her like she had before. Grace turns away from the philosophy that she made out of whole cloth, but Simon refuses. Even after he meets the conductor the Apex ostensibly followed, he clings to his beliefs until the end. Just be careful out there. You can't count on your prospective recruiter having a crisis of conscience. You'll have to see through their manipulations yourself. Good night, everybody.